Okay, Eamon, well thanks again for having us this week. A couple of quick questions as usual. Was last night's defeat to Wigan the kick in the arse that United need to get themselves focused for the run-in, or did it prove that they can't function properly without 37-year-old Paul Scholes?
Well, United are certainly a better team when Paul Scholes is in the side. I mean, the stats show that in the last couple of months, and leaving him out last night at Wigan was expensive. He would have made a difference, I think. But really, to beat Wigan, United shouldn't be depending on Paul Scholes. They have to kind of rest him, be careful they don't overuse him, because there's some very big matches to come. I think losing to Wigan opens the door a little bit for Manchester City. Whether City can take advantage of it is another matter. United have 2 home games now, which they should win. And I think after last night's defeat, I think that will be a kick in the arse for them. I think there's always a reaction from an Alex Ferguson team when they've lost. So I think Aston Villa have to go there at the weekend, and I think Villa will feel the brunt of Ferguson's anger. And Manchester City have what isn't a straightforward match. They have to go away and play Norwich, who beat Spurs at White Hart Lane last week. So City still have it all to do. Manchester United made a mistake last night. I don't think it will cost them the championship, but certainly I think there'll be a major reaction to it, and it wouldn't surprise me if United go the rest of the season unbeaten.
Okay, and with Tottenham and Chelsea meeting in the FA Cup on Sunday, and Chelsea preparing to face Barca in the Champions League, could Newcastle really sneak through and claim 4th place in the table now?
Well, in theory Newcastle can sneak through. They've done amazingly well. And Chelsea have a real predicament. They have to play Spurs in the Cup on Sunday at 6:15 on ITV. Now, that's 3 days before they face Barcelona in the semi-final of the Champions League, which is an incredible burden that the Football Association have placed on Chelsea. They have to play this game really to accommodate television, and with only 2 days really to recover before they play Barcelona. It's a shocking ask. So it presents a real problem for Roberto Di Matteo. When he's picking his team for the cup tie, he has to bear in mind the Champions League match, and the squad is already thin enough. So I think it's a major problem, and of course the Champions League place you refer to, finishing in the top 4 and acquiring a Champions League place for next season we're talking 20-30 million, and he can't afford to ignore that. And also, of course, he's trying to keep the job. Now, this is the worst of all dilemmas. If they were to go all out to beat Spurs on Sunday, get to the cup final, and he was to win the cup, it'd give him a better chance of keeping the job on a full-time basis. That's one consideration. On the other hand, if he does that, he may leave the team, with heavy legs for the big match against Barcelona on Wednesday, which is another consideration he must make. And then, of course, he's got to worry about the top 4. He's got to worry about so many things. I don't think Chelsea can do it. I think they'll suffer, and I think Spurs will beat them at the weekend. And in fact, in my bet this week, I think Spurs are one of my 3 teams in the treble. So I think Chelsea are in a bad place. They don't have the players, the squad, and there's too much demands being made upon them. It does give Newcastle a real opportunity, because I think they play Stoke this week, Newcastle, which is a game they should win the way they're going.
And have Wigan and QPR got the momentum at the right time to avoid the drop? And does that mean that Blackburn and Bolton are doomed?
Well, Wolves are certainly doomed. Wigan have got momentum. They played really well, not just in beating Manchester United. They were robbed against Chelsea last week. The referee apologised after the match for the mistakes that cost them the game. 2 offside decisions went against them, one very late in the match. So Wigan have momentum. They have a really good coach, and I would fancy them to stay up. And the same applies to QPR. They had a good win over Swansea on Wednesday night. They have a good coach. Morale seems to be high. I'd fancy Wigan to stay up more than QPR. I think Bolton have a real problem and Blackburn have real problems, but both have a chance. 6 games left. 5 or 6 games left. So at that end of the table, it's a matter of nerve and of course of luck, and particularly luck with refereeing decisions, which haven't gone QPR's way either, or Wigan's way. I mean, QPR were robbed at Old Trafford last week, penalty given, shouldn't have been given, players sent off who shouldn't have been sent off. These things are, awful when you're trying to fight a relegation battle.
And with Kenny Dalglish again losing the plot in a TV interview after the Blackburn game, do Liverpool seriously have to think about removing him as manager in the summer?
Yes, I think they do. I think there are all kinds of reasons why he lost the plot over Suarez. He had to apologise to the excuse me. Yes, I mean, Dalglish has shown on a number of occasions this year that for one reason or another, and it's a mystery to most of us who followed his career, he seems to have lost the plot over the Luis Suarez controversy and racism when he wore a t-shirt supporting Suarez, which was crazy. He had to apologise to Sky's TV interviewer Jeff Reeves after a very sort of sarcastic and nasty interview, really. And again this week he's shown that you can't keep the head when the going gets tough. Now he's 60 years of age, he's one of football's elder statesmen. He should know how to conduct himself, and the other thing of course he's guilty of has been party to buying duds, very expensive duds. Carroll cost 35 million, Henderson 20 million, and both of them wouldn't go even in a fire sale now. So I think Dalglish is in the danger zone. The American owners there won't take any prisoners, and they won't be swayed as much as English owners would be by Dalglish's reputation, which is very high as a manager and as a player before this season.
Okay, and then it's a big weekend this weekend for the FA Cup. What would be your general kind of consensus on the fixtures? And
I think the Liverpool-Everton match will be fascinating. It's the Saturday lunchtime game. I think it will be a dogfight. I think it will be a draw. I don't think any quarter will be given or asked. Both clubs desperately want it. There is a rivalry there that's so intense anyway, so I think that's going to be a hell of a game. The Spurs-Chelsea match, I think with all the problems and all the fixtures they've got to meet, I think Chelsea will be, half-hearted in their approach. If Spurs get up for the game, which they should do, but they themselves have had a lot of troubles recently. If Spurs are up for it, they have the players to win it, and Wembley should suit them, the way their style of play. So I fancy Spurs to win. I think the game will be a draw.
Okay, and then what will be your biggest bankers then for the weekend?
Okay, I'm very confident about my weekend bets this week. The first one is a treble. It's Sunderland to beat Wolves. Wolves are dead men walking. Sunderland have had a very good season under Martin O'Neill. They took a hiding during the week, and maybe all the adrenaline they pumped out over the last couple of months with O'Neill is catching up with them, but they still should be far too good for Wolves. I fancy Spurs strongly to beat Chelsea. I think they have better players, better attacking players, and I think that Chelsea's mind is bound to be on the Barca game on the Wednesday, and if there's a secondary consideration in their mind, it would be securing a top 4 place in the Premier League. So I think they can do without the FA Cup, and that would be subconsciously a factor in that equation. And the third match is I fancy Manchester United to beat Aston Villa, to come back with a vengeance after that defeat. Now that treble will be, you won't get a lot of money back, but you will get your money back and you'll win. So it'll be around 7-4, 2-1 the treble.
Brilliant.
Maybe a bit higher than that, 2-1, 5-2. I think it's a great bet.
Cool. Okay. Great. Well, thanks again.
And the other bet that everyone should have is the Liverpool-Everton match to be a draw. Probably get 9-4. It's a great bet. I think that will be a dogfight. It'll go possibly to penalties.
Great. Well, thanks again. We'll see you next week.
Look forward to it.